Calling all builders. Welcome to Snowflake's 5-minute demo dare, where contestants race against the clock to demo the latest and greatest Snowflake products and features. Our judges will rate the demos based on 3 criteria. How ambitious is the demo? Is the demo useful and replicable? And finally, how engaging and interactive was the demo? Each category is worth 5 points, and demos can rack up to a total of 15 points for a perfect score. And now, your host, developer advocate Felipe Hoff.
Pam, pam, pam. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, everyone. I'm super happy to host the 3rd episode of the Our Demo There. And today we have a great guest. Until now, in the first 2 episodes, we had 2 Snowflake employees, but today we have the first partner. And who is our contestant today? Let's see. Keith Maxwell from Airbyte. How are you doing, Keith?
Fantastic. How are you?
Good. Super happy to have you today. For people that are watching this show for the first time, we want you to give us a 5-minute demo. And we know demos can fail. In fact, in this show, demos can have failed, but we want you to do your best. And we're going to have judges scoring your demo. We want to know if your demo is useful. We want to know if your demo is ambitious. You have 5 minutes. How much are you going to do within those 5 minutes? And we want to know if your demo is entertaining. Can you entertain all of us while you're playing against the demo gods and time? So, feeling ready for this?
I'm ready.
Good. So what's your 10-second pitch for today's demo?
10-second pitch. Well, as we know, markets can be volatile, specifically in the crypto market. So what we're going to do is we're going to ingest data from a third-party API that's going to get cryptocurrency information. We're going to send that data into Snowflake and allow you guys to run predictive analytics, historic analytics, so we can make the best decisions and make you a little bit of money.
Excellent. So for people that love to play with crypto, but also for people that love playing with data, ingesting data, and using doing predictions inside the Snowflake. And what does Airbyte bring to this story?
So Airbyte essentially allows you to ingest data from any third-party API. So not only is it built on open source technology, meaning you can go download it for free, run it locally on Docker, and start ingesting data into Snowflake today. We also offer a cloud instance, so we can paste the link to the chat that allows customers to sign up for free, start integrating for free with our cloud instance. But we also offer our enterprise offering, which allows you to deploy directly in customers' VPC. So it's fully hosted, managed by the customer, but it essentially allows you to integrate any source into Snowflake quickly and easily.
Great. And we're going to see it at work now. And I want to remind everyone that we are live. We are reading your comments. Jacqueline Bean said on LinkedIn that she has a question already. We are going to read her question in a while. Also, Venkat already said that he's excited for the upcoming live demo with Keith Maxwell, showcasing the simplicity of creating custom connectors in the Airbyte UI, bridging HTTP API sources to Snowflake effortlessly. Don't miss the chance to showcase your skills. Thank you, Venkat, for that. So yes, we are open to more people coming to the show and being judged and presenting their demo. We love Snowflake employees, we love partners, we love anyone that has something cool to show off with Snowflake. And the question now, Keith, is in your 5 minutes, how much are you going to attempt? Can you tell us a little about what's your demo so we can then know if you completed all you wanted to do during these 5 minutes?
Absolutely. So every API is going to be a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to a cryptocurrency API documentation. I'm going to look at a few different links, and based on those documents, I'm going to build my own custom connector in about 3.5 minutes and start ingesting some data.
So creating a custom connector in 3.5 minutes, that sounds super interesting. And by the way, I'm not alone in this. We have 3 judges today. Let me introduce you to my 3 teammates that are going to be judging you. Gilberto Hernandez, Eda Johnson, and Daniel Myers. How are you doing, judges, today?
Pretty good.
Doing really good. Yeah, thank you.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Daniel, I see that you're pretty happy today. I just saw your LinkedIn post. You have been promoted to Director of Developer Relations.
Yes, thank you.
Really,
thank you. I'm very excited.
Yeah, really well deserved, and I'm glad that we're working together. But this show is not about you. This show is about Keith. Daniel, what are you expecting to see in this demo?
You know, Keith, I really like the pitch that you gave. I'm excited to see this custom connector. I think it really opens up a lot of possibilities of being able to show off really any third-party data ingestion set. So I think the usefulness here is I'm hoping for very high there. And I like the take on doing it with crypto. So we'll see where it goes.
Oh, Gilberto, what are you expecting to see?
All right, you know me, 3 words, ease of use. So you mentioned 3.5 minutes, and I'm hearing all sorts of things about connectors nowadays. So really excited to see how quickly you can do this and how easy anyone would be able to do this with Snowflake and Airbyte, of course.
Ease of use. And introducing our new judge today, Eda Johnson. What are you expecting to see, Eda?
Yeah, I'm really, really excited about this demo. And Keith, I would like this demo to be applicable to a lot of use cases that I'm seeing with our customers. I would like this demo to be easily reproducible. And I would like this demo to make my day, right? Bringing the best of Snowflake. So let's get on it.
Yes, yes. Eda works with a lot of customers, so bringing her experience and opinions to the show is really, really important. So, Keith, before we start the timer, anything else you would like people to know?
The last thing that I will call out is that we will be building this custom connector from scratch. But at the end, I will share my GitHub repo that has the actual code itself pre-downloaded. So within Airbyte, you do have the ability to import YAML code and create this own custom connector. So outside of doing it on the fly, you can import YAML that will be available to you at the end of this call. So feel free to download, install, play around, and who knows, maybe you'll make a little bit of money.
Let's see what happens, because also the best demo, their participants will be featured at Summit. We are preparing something special there. Good. Are you ready to start the timer? Say the word and the timer starts.
If you can share my screen, then I am ready to go.
Perfect. Game is on.
All right, perfect. So as I mentioned, Airbyte open source ELT. What you're looking at here is the cloud version. You'll notice the cloud version at the top. I'm in a shared workspace, but in cloud, you can have multiple workspaces. The goal today, connect to a third-party API. Airbyte has over 360 native connectors, some popular ones, Salesforce, Facebook. But what we're really going to focus on is our builder. As I mentioned, you do have the ability to import existing YAML. For those folks who don't want to build it on the fly, can ingest it right here. What we're going to do is start from scratch. If you remember, I'm looking to ingest data from a third-party API all around cryptocurrency. So I need to get near real-time data based on these different API endpoints. The first one I'm going to get is this API from my coin data. So I'm going to grab this open API spec base URL, and I'll plug that right here in my base URL. Now, this API does require an API key. So you will need to log in, authenticate, and pass in my key. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip back over to my other screen, grab my API key. I'll throw this in for a quick testing value. Save that. And the header name is XAPI key based on this documentation. It's that quick. It's that easy to authenticate. From there, we add in the concept of a stream. Now, a stream is essentially a dedicated API endpoint. That endpoint is going to retrieve the actual data itself. So I'll go ahead and hit add new stream. We'll give this a name. In this case, I'm going to grab all the coin information. And if you remember, that coin path is just a /coins. I'll go ahead and hit create. And from there, all we need to do is run a quick test. As long as my authentication works, we are good to go, and we can test, and what will pop up is all the actual coin information. So just like that, I've tested, I've authenticated, I can actually see a sample data set. But what we don't need is this results tab. We don't need any header information. So I'll go ahead and select the record selector as results. Additionally, Snowflake, you want to merge and get the latest information based on some primary key. So in this case, I'm going to plug in my ID. I'll go ahead and hit test one more time. And we have a nice, clean, normalized table structure ready to load into Snowflake. But it doesn't stop there. We can authenticate once and grab multiple API endpoints. So now at this case, instead of grabbing all the coins, now I want even more data just for Bitcoins, right? That's the big dollar amounts. So in that case, I need to pass in a specific coin ID. Now, we don't need to persist any data. We can simply make a secondary call. In this case, we're going to get the coin details, and we're going to use that same endpoint because now Airbyte has this concept of parent streams where I can take the results from one API and send that and use it for a secondary call. So in this case, my parent stream, I'm going to grab all my coins. My parent key is going to be that ID, that primary key that I just chose. And the key identifier, we're going to choose as the stream ID. That's just the variable that I'm calling it. So now my API URL becomes the variable of my stream partition, and I'm going to pass in that ID dynamically. So the first one's going to be Bitcoin, the next one's going to be altcoins, so on and so forth. So I'll go ahead and test one more time. And just like that, I have just my Bitcoin information with a bit more detail. Now, remember, we want to use the price differential to make buying decisions, right? So we want our price change specifically, maybe on an hourly level. So what we're going to do now is go back into my sources. I'm going to hit new source. And instead of these 360 out of the box, I'm going to hit my cryptocurrency rate. Again, pass in my API key, if I grab that correctly. I'm going to hit setup source. Now at this point, Airbyte, it's going to retrieve all the metadata that I just saved, right? So all the different endpoints, any keys that I identified, all the information necessary, and I'm getting it ready to send into Snowflake. So at this point, create new connection, send that data into Snowflake. Again, retrieving all the necessary metadata, creating the job itself, and now I have my configuration page. I can give this job a name. I'm in the cloud environment, so any UK customers out there, if you are concerned about GDPR, you can run this in the EU region. Now, again, we want this in near real time, right? Cryptocurrency changes every single minute, so I can set this at a cron schedule running every 5 minutes. From there, pick and choose which streams I want. If I just want the Bitcoin details, I don't even need all my coin information. Just grab everything or one, set up my connection, and just like that, in 5 minutes or less, I've created Bitcoin sent into Snowflake, just like that.
Looks like Felipe, the host, is on mute.
Yes, bravo, senor. Thank you, Daniel. You had me until the last second guessing if we're going to complete this custom connector or not, and you did it from scratch. Oh my god! I like picking judges by who was the first one to unmute, and it's Eda. Eda, what are your thoughts, and do you have any questions for Keith?
It was amazing. I couldn't believe how easy it is, right, to set this up. And, you know, like typically we do a lot of coding to build this kind of like integration. So like, it's amazing. I was very, very pleased to see this.
Yes. How about Gilberto? Are you ready?
Yeah, two things. When I saw the start from scratch, I was really nervous, but that was cool that you were able to take us from nothing basically to that connection. The thing that blew me away is the concept of the parent stream and how you can programmatically use, you know, in this case, the ID in the other stream. So that was really cool, really easy to use too.
Yes.
Awesome.
I have a question there. Can you repeat again what the parent stream did? I love how much time you took to explain it, but I love it.
Certainly. So what we did in this use case is we made my first API call to get a list of all coins. So think of there's Bitcoin, there's Ethereum, there's all the other ones. but each individual coin has an entirely different API call where you're going to get a lot more detail. So we're making a second call and we're passing in each individual coin one at a time and then sending all that data in a secondary call.
Excellent. Daniel, your thoughts, your questions.
Yes, I love this. Was a true nail biter photo finish, and I agree with Gilberto. It was very cool to see the differences between the streaming, and you could set both of those different elements up to get a individual cryptocurrency data. I think that it was very entertaining and relevant in terms of everybody's talking about crypto, and it's funny to see how Bitcoin itself has grown a lot over the last 12 months. So this is a good data ingestion tool to track that. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
And what I love partnering with Snowflake, we have this advanced Python availability now where you can, instead of run historical analytics, leveraging Snowflake, turn that into predictive analytics. So you can put this in front of your machine learning AI teams and really start to run with it.
Yes. So the judges, I'll give the judges a minute or two now to deliberate on your score on how useful, how entertaining, and how ambitious was your demo, how much you did during it. And while they do that on Slack, we will take some time to answer audience questions. This is live, so we're ready for any type of questions. I have one. If you can share your screen again. I want to know, did you get the data into Snowflake?
I did get that. I did not run the job. I did not have time. So all I did was schedule it. It will be set to schedule in the next 5 minutes or so, based on the cron that I scheduled. But unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to hit run and actually view the data. But it should only take a few minutes.
It's okay. And do you have sample data that we can see of how it would look once in Snowflake?
Yes. So I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I do have my Snowflake instance up at the moment. So here I just have a sample data set of all my user information. So Airbyte does have a universally unique identifier per row, the date that it was extracted at, any errors, and as well as any of the data set that we have here. So this is a sample data set that I have running. Again, I did not get a chance to actually run the job. Let's see if this one still has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think this one's actually running anymore, but here's just a sample data set of the raw data of what it would look like coming from Airbyte.
Cool. I like that anyone can reproduce the results. I like how this looks like. I mean, it gets ingested as a Snowflake table, and you're also adding a couple of meta columns.
Correct.
That is some cool metadata. That's Airbyte extracted at and Airbyte meta. Yeah, just wanted to learn more of how, like, once you create the connector, how the data comes in.
Yep.
And
the metadata will vary based on the source, right? So if you're pulling, say, from a file store, S3, something like that, it'll have additional metadata around the file names. But this is relatively standard for the majority of your sources.
Great. And that was ingested February 1st. So it is very fresh data.
Yes.
Indeed. Good. I have some questions. John Spooner wants to know if anyone has tried this with the Spotify API.
It's a good question. It's actually a great question. And I actually challenge you, John. Airbyte has a community Slack channel. So what I would recommend is join our Slack, post that same question. And I'm sure someone has been able to toy around with the Spotify API. And if it's not available as a REST API, we do offer our CDKs as well. So it is very extensible throughout your community.
Cool. I know you have all of this code in a GitHub repository, so you did a lot by hand, but this gets all exported as code. Can you show us the code of how the connector looks once you share it?
Absolutely.
Uh-huh. And this is public, so anyone will be able to see your code. Create connectors like this.
So I do have my GitHub repo. This is a public repository. what I've done here is if I go back to the connector itself, and I'll just do new custom connector, start from scratch. You'll notice that this is the UI, but anything is available to export in YAML. So any changes that I make through the UI does export in YAML. So the code that I generated does actually have the Open API URL available. So you can actually take this YAML code, go back into the connector builder, and in the builder itself, when I go new custom connector, take that, import it locally, and just like that, I can build my own custom connector. So this is available. It's a public repo. Feel free to toy around with it and start playing around with Airbyte.
Beautiful. I mean, if someone builds the Spotify API, this is how it would look. This is how they could share it. And this is how they imported it. I have Jacqueline Bean would like to know about HL7 and using this Airbyte in the healthcare space. Do you have any thoughts?
I'd love to talk a bit more in detail on the use case. I mean, in short, especially with Airbyte Cloud, everything is TLS encrypted. We don't store any data. And it is one of the reasons that we offer the Enterprise Edition running in your VPC, so no one would ever see any of that data. But specifically, the types of data, healthcare, it's a hot use case for us these days. But specifically, the formatting, things like that, I would encourage you to reach out to sales and see if we can support your use case.
Excellent. And let's talk about Ganesh's question about multi-threading of API calls. More than the specific question, I'd love to know what's the model of how Airbyte is getting data out. Like what's...
Yep. So we do support any REST endpoint. And in terms of multi-threading, pagination, things like that. So a lot of it is built out of the box. So in terms of error handling, pagination, there's certain checkboxes that allows you to kind of proceed and or back off. But you can subsequently call as many APIs as you'd like at a given time.
Cool. And Saurabh wants to know, how was Airbyte built? Is it built on top of open source? What's the technology behind Airbyte?
It is built on open source. If you look at our community catalog, the code behind the majority of our sources is publicly available. So you can actually click on the individual source and view the GitHub repo. Excellent.
And I have a question. This is an internal question I'm getting from Slack. What about native apps? Can you run, for example, Airbyte in container services, Snowflake container services?
Yep. So with Airbyte Enterprise, it does need to run on Kubernetes. That's the only caveat there. But in terms of Airbyte open source, you can spin that up running on Docker in AWS EC2 on GCP. So it is available, and all our documentation will walk through the different possibilities in terms of deployment.
Excellent. Well, so we could integrate it even further with Snowflake and its new abilities. And with that, I would love to bring back the judges with the final score.
Fantastic. So in review, we have some feedback and some observations from the demo. So we loved the fact that this is, to a degree, a low-code solution. You can create these end-to-end pipelines without having to go super deep into the Python code or anything like that. So that really improves the usefulness score that we gave you. The other is we would love to see some additional use cases on not just crypto, but as folks asked live in the chat, Spotify or other large or even nascent APIs that people find on the internet. We want to be able to show and see how that can all be ingested using Airbyte. And so overall, we gave a score across each category. We gave a 3.9 to usefulness, a 4.0 for ambition, and a 4.3 for entertaining. That's a total of 12.2. Great score. We really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Daniel. That's your score. By the way, when I ask judges for scores, I always tell them 4 is perfection. 5 is something that they never seen before, because that's the only way we're going to get a ranking and we will be able to see who the top 3 are. So that's a great score, Keith. And more important than that, that's a great demo. People are really happy to see this. They're asking more questions that we can answer also offline. So all the LinkedIn comments are open. I'm sure Airbyte and Snowflake employees have questions, answers, everything for anyone that wants to keep working with this. And everyone that's interested in showcasing their demos, their abilities, their product, their special tricks, we have a form where you can send us your 5-minute video audition, and we would love to have you participating here. Any last words before we say goodbye?
For me, just want to say thank you to the entire Snowflake team. It's been a pleasure. I had a blast doing this. For any folks watching, thank you for joining. Again, feel free to join our Slack community. We'll talk about all the different use cases that we run with Snowflake, and it's been a lot of fun. Thanks again for having me.
Thanks, Keith, for bringing us all this data. With that, I say goodbye for now. Looking forward to the next episode.
Want to be featured on our show? Submit a video of you successfully completing a functioning demo within 5 minutes. Demos must be technical, original, and showcase existing Snowflake features.